Hi everybody, this is Debbie from Teacher Success Coach. I hope that you guys are very well. Right, I have not been on for a few days and I thought, oh my goodness, I need to come in to tap into my people. Right, as you guys know, I'm in a new school and it's a lovely school, although it's a relatively deprived school, as I've said. There is, the challenges there is not different from any of the other school I've been to, whether or not it was the private school or the independent school. So in terms of behavior issue, they all have their common behavior issue. Right. What's my win for today? Well, I've been having some strange wins this week, from last week actually, in terms of the students engaging. Because there's a new teacher in the school, not as a new person to teaching, but a new teacher in this particular school. Students are going to try to push boundaries, and this school is no exception. They've been trying to push boundaries in terms of see how far they could go, the behavior issue, especially for year 11, no, not so much 11, year 13. Because I teach year 10, year 11, no, year 10, year 12, and year 13. I teach two lots of year 12s. One lot I'm doing EPQ with them, something I've never taught before, something I've never heard of before. And then I'm doing sociology and sociology with the year 13. Oh boy, the year 13, the behavior, you wouldn't even think they are year 13 behavior. But I had to remind myself that they're 2 years younger than the age, i.e., they're 18 or 17 and 18, but subtract 2 years from that because they have been COVID children. So as a result of that, they are not fully developed, i.e., in terms of emotionally and in terms of the process of age developmental process. They're not there yet. So a lot of their behavior is very, very childish, i.e., the giggling for no apparent reason, the unnecessary disruptive behavior, in terms of their attention span is very, very limited. Although I give them brain break, attention span is still limited because I would give them something to do for 20 minutes. The time 20 minutes reach, they've already lost focus. So I have to change activities quite a lot in order to get them to remain on task. And sometimes it's quite challenging because you expect them to have a greater attention span than they do, but that's not happening. So I just need to meet my students where they are and then work with them where they are. And I know that yes, their development age is -2 from where they are, so therefore I know I have to do a lot more changing activities and a lot of shorter activities. So that's what I've been doing. So that's one of my wins. Another thing for today, one of my wins is they're actually beginning to connect with sociology because I've been doing a lot of newspaper article as a means for getting them to understand crime and deviance. And it seems to be working. It's taken, this is week 4, it's taken roughly 4 weeks for them to come on board with me and to understand where I'm at and to understand my style of teaching and to come along. And I must say, the pen is beginning to drop because they're asking a lot more questions. And when I chart a topic for them, they're beginning to understand it and unravel it. So that's, a big win for me. The other win, as I said, is meeting them where they are. The minute I realize that I have to meet them where they are and remind myself, my lesson becomes easier and it becomes less challenging. And they're beginning to connect more. So those are my two wins in terms of where I'm at today. Right, I'm also going to give 2 tips in terms of classroom management. One of it is one of the things I notice a lot of teachers are doing is shouting. Shouting gets you nowhere. The more you shout, the more the children actually lift their voices, try to match your voice. I don't do any shouting, as I say to them. I'm not a shouting teacher, Indo. It's a no-no. So what I do is just remain quiet. Just remain quiet. And then you'll find that some students clock on that you are waiting for them to be quiet, and then they start realizing they need to be quiet. My year 10 seems to be connecting on that as well, which is brilliant. I just stand there and I fold my arm. I don't say anything. First of all, I said to you, okay guys, can you be quiet, and they continue to talk. I just fold my arm and I just wait for them. And when one student might see that I'm waiting, they would say, oh, Miss is waiting to start the lesson. Eventually, they would stop talking. Another thing I do is I say, okay, I give them a little bit of time during the lesson. I say, okay, pause. Let's take a brain break. So we pause, we take a brain break, and I say, okay, get this talking out of your system. And they eventually get some of those talking out of the system, and then I start my lesson. Shouting is a no-no. Shouting does not work. It's like, another thing is I see teachers are shouting at students. You send them outside and yet still you're shouting so loud at them. It doesn't do the students any good. It makes them resent you, get frustrated. When they come back to the class, they disrupt the whole class. Whether or not consciously or unconsciously, because you've actually just took them out and shamed them outside. So there is no point in that. And something I would recommend is talk to the student on a one-to-one basis privately, not on the corridor where you're shouting and screaming. It doesn't help them. It just makes you exhausted. It gets them feeling frustrated. It gets them feeling resentful. And they just continue to disrupt the lesson. It's better talking to them on a one-to-one basis, away from everyone else. Because these children have a lot of baggages. So it's trying to find out what are the issues with their child. Because you never know unless you ask them or try to feel what's going on with them. Sometimes they don't want to tell you because they feel too embarrassed or it's too painful. So there is no point in shouting at them. Shouting does not resolve the problem. It just escalates the problem. So those are some of the things that I constantly see, and I would talk to the student when I see them outside. I say, come here. I say, what are you doing outside? You cannot spend all your time outside. And they're looking at me, yes, miss, I know. And when I see, like they go back outside, tutus, the teacher coming outside and is screaming at the top of her voice. There's one teacher that constantly does that. And she doesn't seem to realize that the impact it has on the whole class. Because she then goes back into the classroom and she's going back in the classroom with a mood. Because she just finished shouting at a student and she's not centered, nor is she calm. So those are some of the things we need to look at when we're actually dealing with the children. Because we want them to be calm and centered. Because getting them back into the classroom when they're ruffled and stressed out, and you stress out as a teacher, it doesn't help. Another thing is, as teachers, you need to check on the words you say to students. It's like, I heard another teacher telling of a child, oh, you're so stupid. Do you realize how stupid you've been? And I'm standing there looking at her and looking at the student. That doesn't solve well. There's some things we don't say to students. As I say to students, in my class, I don't want you to call, no negative. I don't want you to say to them, shut up, stupid, no negative. No negative. But you see, as one of them said to me yesterday, Miss, we've been conditioned. They've told us so many times that we dumb and we stupid and shut up and all of that. Miss is going to rub off because after a while, you become so used to it. I say I understand that, but we need to be very conscious and try very consciously not to do those things. because words have power and words have energy. So those are two things I want to leave you guys with in terms of dealing with your student. There's no point in shouting. There is no point in telling them off. There is no point in, using negative to them. It doesn't work. I've actually said to a student last week, I was doing library duty. I said to the student, I said, oh, you're talking so much, you're disrupting the other children. Can you please be quiet? He turned around and said, Miss, I've got a mouth. I could use my mouth if I want to. And he carried on about, I cannot tell him to be quiet because God gave him a mouth and he's going to use his mouth. And he was carried. I didn't say anything. I just looked at him and I said to him, get up and sit over there, please, now. And he looked at me and he got up. Because I thought, okay, if he doesn't get up, therefore what would be my next tactic? I said, get up, sit over there now. And I looked at him, straight at him. And he got up and he sit there. Because you see, he was telling me about he had a mouth and, he used his mouth to talk. And he was going on and on and on and on and on. There's no point. There's no point in me bantering with a student on that. I said, get up now. Please move from there and sit over there, please. And I was surprised that he actually got up and sat over there. After the session, I said to him, I need a conversation, please. We need to talk. And we had a conversation because I wanted to find out what's going on with him. But you see, these students have not been given boundaries because every teacher is throwing at that child all the negative. Oh, he's bad, he's this, he's that. So it became his reality. And I had to say to him, you are not bad. You're just wearing the label they've given you. And I want you to stop wearing that label. It's not a very positive label. I want you to start reflecting on what I've said to you. I said, I'm going to connect with you later in the week. So I said to him, I'm going to connect with him on Thursday. So I need to see how he's getting on because this child is just wearing the negative label because it's an attention. And it doesn't matter the level of attention or the type of attention he gets. He's just happy to get that. And he was surprised when he started telling me about he has a mouth and he's got to use his mouth. And I said nothing. I just stood there and looked at him while he carried on. In the library, the other teacher that was with me, the librarian that was with me, he just looked at me. And I was not about to engage with him. So when he finished, I said to him, get up, move from yourself from there, please, and go and sit over there. And he got up. So there's sometimes we need to identify when children are looking for attention, because the more we argue with them, the more we respond to them, positively or negatively. That's what they want. Whether it's negative attention, that's what they're seeking. So it is fulfilling whatever need they've got, which is the need for attention, and it's fulfilling that. So we need not fulfill that because it is not supporting the child on their journey of developing in a very positive way. Anyway, guys, have a great evening. Take care. Stay blessed. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.